You know, Ben Affleck is now Batman. Who's gonna live with that?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
I really don't have a problem.
Well, you get the bar. The bar is set low already. You got Kilmer and Clooney down there. I mean,
Bale did a good job without his gravelly voice.
Can he do worse than Kilmer and Clooney?
No,
I think so.
I guess not.
I think he can.
He can?
I
think he has it in him.
If he does that, if he does his normal Boston accent,
That's the only thing. If he needs to lose the Boston accent, then I'll be happy. I don't know if he can do Batman with a Boston accent.
No, I wouldn't be
He
right.
did Daredevil
He's
with
gonna try.
He did Daredevil with a Boston accent.
Yeah, and he was from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, Daredevil.
Don't hate on
I just love the explosion of memes that came up afterwards.
that flick.
They
Yeah.
got so mad.
No, I like the one with Val Kilmer. He's like, "You remember when I was
I
Batman?"
love that picture.
The smile.
That's my favorite picture.
Look at Val Kilmer now.
Welcome to That's All, where we celebrate the summer season by hiding in an air-conditioned theater away from that dreadful sun. Some films, so the summer film has kind of ended, and here we are trying to give our critiques and reviews on it. With me is Sacha, Timeless Traveler.
Hello.
How you doing? How was summer?
Awesome.
Moving on, Cary, MS Cast. How you doing?
MS Arcast. Greetings,
MS
everyone.
Arcast. And our new friend, Mike Rudd.
Hey,
We imported him in from Japan itself.
it's true.
So enthusiastic.
Yeah, I know.
Hey.
And our great leader, Bryan McBallz.
Hi.
Somewhat leader.
Hi.
So,
The enthusiasm is over here.
Apparently, it's sort of dwindled over there.
420 Blitz.
So low.
what?
Go
What was that?
ahead.
I'm gonna offer the choice. Do you want an empty life or a meaningful death?
All right, so first off, I want to ask everyone what's their most anticipated movie. Bryan, I'm going to you first. What was the movie you were looking forward to most going into the summer?
My most anticipated movie would be Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man Trace.
Never heard of that one. Was it good?
Because,
Why?
well, here's the deal. Like, I enjoyed the Iron Man movies, and I was hoping, I thought 2 was a little bit of a dip. And I was hoping they'd come back with a blast and a bang, And that was disappointing a little bit for me. I guess everybody was expecting Mandarin, and don't get me wrong, I don't dislike the movie, but I love Shane Black's script. I think the dialogue is spot on. I think the dialogue is great, but
I'll give you that. It's fair.
yeah, but it just didn't blow me away. Like, I haven't wanted to even go revisit it.
Wait, let's hang on to your review of it because I just want to get everyone's take on their most anticipated first.
Yeah, that was my most anticipated.
That was your most anticipated. Gave you most wood and dreaming about it in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mike Rudd, on to you next.
Well, I didn't get wood from it, but Iron Man 3.
Also.
Yeah, also.
So you're down with the Shane Black Downey Jr. team
I'm
up?
down with any Shane Black, whether it's Robert Downey Jr. or Mel Gibson.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mel Gibson.
I'm fine with that.
I'm
I
bringing
like
it
Mel
up.
Gibson.
He doesn't
You
like
like
Jews.
Mel
Mel
Gibson?
Gibson's he's badass.
Yeah, he's a great actor. What about you, Cary? What was your most anticipated?
Not to be but yeah, Iron Man 3. I don't want to just follow you
we
guys.
got
but
3 Iron Man.
I know.
We've got the enthusiasm and Iron Man.
I was really hoping they were going to be able to keep up that momentum after the Avengers and see where they went after the movie.
Okay. Timeless Traveler. What was your most anticipated film?
Man of Steel. I mean, I'm kind of overwhelmed by all the Marvel over here, but I was really looking forward to Man of Steel.
Marvel's
Okay.
testosterone.
Especially when you saw the trailer with Henry Cavill and shirtless.
Okay, I am a
Was that it?
complete sap. I cried every time I saw the trailer. I am a complete sap.
From his pecs?
No.
Okay.
No. It's like all these sweet scenes, like the narrate or the voiceover of his mother talking to him, trying to get him through whatever hard
Puberty.
Well, being able to hear everybody. You're horrible.
Okay. Well, mine also was actually Man of Steel because the potential where it was leading towards, because they said if it did well, there will be a Justice League movie. But then there's going to be a lead up to Justice League movie in 2020 or 2021. It's going to take a long time.
Is it going to be that long? I thought it was 15,
I
yeah.
believe.
No,
for-
2015 is Man of
Right,
Steel
and
sequel.
then I believe 2017 is Justice League.
Really?
That's
Okay.
their plan.
Well,
We'll see
that's
about
late
that.
plans. So now we got our anticipated out of the way, our anticipations. Bryan, back to you. What was your favorite movie this summer, and what blew your wad?
Well, Mike, if we want to talk about that,
Yeah.
I would probably say Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, giant robots.
Giant robots done right. There weren't rolling pieces of trash on the screen.
And crotches.
And iron balls jiggling. Like it was giant robots done right. I went in with I didn't really have expectations for it. I was just like let's see giant robots, and there's a giant robot movie, and I was satisfied.
And the only thing that played through my mind the entire time was a Power Rangers theme song.
Yeah.
Power Rangers theme song.
What do you guys think of Pacific Rim?
I love Pacific Rim because it is the perfect film to capture 1970s anime.
Okay.
I mean, right down to the cheesy cliche characters and motivations. I mean, it was just like watching Robotech.
Okay. See, I'm the complete opposite. I hate it for that reason. It's because
Why?
the character archetype, especially Charlie Day's character.
Okay.
And
Charlie Day, though.
I know Charlie Day is Charlie Day. I'm fine with him. It's his accomplice, the other scientist that was helping out.
Right.
Yeah.
Overly British.
Yeah, they're gonna make sure he's British because he had to say "by Jove." He had to say that. I was like, I didn't know he was British until he said that.
Until he said "by Jove."
Yeah, he said "by Jove."
Yeah,
you
he
remember
did.
when we typed it on
No,
the
I
computer?
didn't.
But the other reason I had issues with it was also the story played out very like an anime archetype.
Right.
At the very beginning, our main protagonist was on top of everything. He was the hero of the day, and then something dramatic happened, and then he got knocked down a couple pegs, and he goes emo, disappears for a couple years. Idris Elba's character, Colonel, comes back. He's like, "Hey, we need you again to save the world." All right. He comes back, and then there's that one, the new kid on the block from Australia, the new mech.
Oh
Yeah.
The cocky dude.
The cocky dude. He was like, "You know what? You've been gone for 5 years. I don't trust you." I was like, "The world's ending. What's with this petty shit?" I don't understand that. What about you, Cary?
The movie was a lot of fun. It delivered what it promised, which was giant robots
Stupid
fighting
robot fun, yeah.
giant monsters. But I mean, stereotypical characters, cliched story. But it was fun. They did it. It was just a lot of fun in the theater.
What about you, Sacha?
Well, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was a fun movie, but I can't watch it for substance. I watch it if I just want to see things blow up.
I agree.
Or see the destruction of half a city.
Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was fun. It's just that as a story structure and character development wise, I found it very lackluster as a good movie.
But if you take all
But
that
it's
out,
fun. Yeah, it's stupid fun.
Yeah.
I'm not argue. I
Well,
wish
just like
It was
technically,
pretty.
the way it looks, exactly. I mean, it's
I wasn't
a gorgeous
expecting
film.
much. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much. I'm not a huge Guillermo del Toro fan either. So
Right.
I would disagree on that one.
I am.
see,
but
I know
going
some people
into
are.
it-
I'm
Yeah.
not.
But going into it, I knew it wasn't going to be structured like his previous movies. Because, for one, there wasn't a child in danger. But
Yes, it was.
that was flashback.
with our childhood.
Yeah.
That was flashback.
Our
That doesn't
childhood.
count.
Yeah, it does. It was a child in danger.
Well, did you see it in IMAX, 3D? What?
I saw it in IMAX, 3D, and D-Box. I saw it 3 times in theaters.
Holy shit.
During the D-Box, did you feel beat up after seeing it in IMAX?
No.
'Cause I felt like the sound mix was so brutal and intense that I felt like I left with bruises.
That sounds nice.
That's
Sound
good
was
sound.
amazing.
That's THX right there, man.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So, Bryan got his favorite movie out of the way. What about you, Mike?
I'm gonna be boring and say Iron Man 3. I mean,
So it lived
I
up
say
to your
boring because
anticipation.
it's like the #1 film of the summer, and yeah, it was my favorite. And lived up-
I'm sorry.
oh no, but
You're okay with the Mandarin?
I'm okay. I loved the Mandarin.
Okay.
Here's the thing: I love the Iron Man comics, and I love the Mandarin.
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
But the way I felt a little unsure about it at first, the way they kind of pull the rug out from under you. But I think cinematically, that's what kind of makes it work. Because you don't go, if you go in there as a comic book fan, you know that this guy's the Mandarin, you know what he is and what he can do. This suddenly takes you completely out of that, and now you don't know what's going to happen necessarily.
I agree. A lot of fanboys did complain that it's not the traditional take on the Mandarin, but I was like, this is the movie universe.
Right,
take
it's
on
not the
Mandarin.
right comic book decision,
Right.
but it was the right film decision, I think.
Some people call me a terrorist. I consider myself a teacher. Lesson number 1. Heroes. There is no such thing.
I agree. I enjoyed the twist, and I still love Bing Kingsley being the pawn.
Yeah.
That was great.
His performance
so
was great.
hilarious.
Yeah, his performance
His
was great.
switch afterwards, I mean, that you could sell tickets on that alone.
I didn't think it was the greatest movie. To be honest, this entire summer movie season's been pretty mediocre for me. Like, there was no really high peaks in it, but overall, I did enjoy Iron Man 3. The biggest factor for me was they finally gave him something he could battle with. Before, in the previous movies, he had nothing to battle with, especially 2. He had two confrontations.
The better.
Yeah, he had 2 confrontations in 2. That was it.
Yeah.
I'm not even counting the house party.
One of them
Yeah,
was basically just a race.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2 was mostly made to showcase Black Widow. So
I think it's also a lead up to the Avengers.
Right.
It was
It was just a
shoehorned.
stepping stone.
It was shoehorned to be an Avengers setup. So unfortunately, what about you? Iron Man 3?
Even though I saw Iron Man 3 the most out of any of the movies this summer, I saw it 3 times in the theater. It was not my favorite. I loved it. It's probably right close behind Kick-Ass 2.
Right.
Kick-Ass 2 lived up to my expectations. I'm a big fan of Mark Millar and the comic series, and it lived up to it. They had to change a little bit because the comic series is very, very violent. But
And Jim Carrey's complaint that was very, very violent.
right. Yeah, Jim Cary, I think, helped sell a little bit of tickets there just by not promoting it.
Yeah, I think it had to be set up. That had to be.
well, I mean,
Something,
it's
man.
so similar to his actual character in there because he's like, watch your language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably a setup for marketing.
Yeah.
He had to have read the script and watched the previous
Right.
movie.
But his thing was, right after Sandy Hook, the tragedy there is
Yeah.
when he came out and said, well, it's too violent. But yeah, you're probably like, I don't want to talk about that movie. It's too violent. Kick-Ass 2 in theaters on this day.
Well,
I don't want to talk about them.
What do you think made it better?
The movie?
The movie over the original.
I don't think it was better than the original. I just think it was a good continuation of the characters. Some of the her going back to high school stuff was just a little.
Well, this is a
little
lot
too
of
much.
critics bashed the movie. It didn't do too well on Rotten Tomatoes. Last time I checked, it was like 23%, which kind of disappointed me. I was like, it does not
Really?
deserve. Yeah, it
Wow.
did not deserve. By the critics, it was 23%. I think
The critics, come on.
but the viewers, most of the viewers gave it around 60 to 70%.
Right.
But I too loved the movie. I really enjoyed it. The critics complained that it was the characters didn't evolve enough. I was like, what are you talking about?
I think they did, yeah.
Yeah, they evolved a lot.
I mean, I really like John Leguizamo in the movie. He
Yeah.
was a great addition to it. And then
Sir Jordan from Game of Thrones showed up
Yeah.
in the film, which was
and
pretty awesome.
Christopher Mintz-Plasse is the
the
come on,
motherfucker, yeah.
the motherfucker. Just say it a couple times.
Just the origin of his story of how he got his costume was just awesome.
He's so. I mean, you can't be intimidated by him at all.
That's the best part.
I know.
Who else made it? Chuck Liddell made an appearance
Yeah.
in the film. There's a lot of good cameos in there.
in Mother Russia, they did a great job casting
my
that.
God.
One
that
of the
character.
supervillains was named Mother Russia,
Yeah.
who was like a female bodybuilder, like almost 7 foot tall.
She was scary.
Yeah.
We were like, man, what prison held this woman? When you guys didn't get to see it.
Haven't
Mike
seen it
read
yet,
Yeah,
no.
but I highly recommend it. What about you, Sasha?
Well, I love Kick-Ass 2 also,
Mm-hmm.
but I also really, really enjoyed Star Trek.
That's another great one. What was the main reason that you really loved it?
I liked how they had all these elements from
The original?
the original Wrath of Khan, and they just enhanced it and made it more appealing to
A wider audience? would you say?
a wider, more contemporary audience.
yeah.
Because I mean, I love Wrath of Khan. It's an excellent movie, but it feels dated. I mean, even though it takes place in the future, it just feels dated.
Well, they did bring back a lot of stuff from the original series.
Oh, they did.
They brought back the flip communicators. I was
Oh my God.
We gone back to Boost Mobile. This is awesome. Like, they still have the flip phones. Some of the cast grew out their hair to look like the original cast members. They had
Yeah.
the sideburns and everything.
Actually, that ended up being one of the biggest criticisms of this film, though, was the plot elements lifted straight out of the original series and movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, one of the criticisms of the film has been that it's not really new. I mean, these writers are taking pieces and stitching them together, but not necessarily creating a new universe that we can enjoy fully.
Well, is that because they're trying to stay with the continuum? Because I know it's a almost alternate timeline, but they still have things that have to collect.
Right.
Which is
Click.
why it was cool how they, well, spoiler alert, at the end where at the end where they had that sequence with Kirk and Spock,
Right.
their roles were reversed.
Right.
It was Kirk in the radiation chamber instead of Spock, and I just thought it was really cool because they've always thrown at this idea at Kirk as being a very self-centered person, that he wouldn't be this sacrificing.
They did they did the whole sacrificing and the bromance that went on between everyone.
Yeah.
I think the thing about the J.J. Abrams Star Trek is I'm not a Star Trek fan at all. I don't really know much about it, but I like I like his take on it. It's more accessible to people who don't know it, but there's enough Easter eggs, enough throwbacks to the people that are really big Star Trek fans, which I think it's a fine line to walk, but he does it pretty well.
See, and I am, I would call myself a Trekkie, but I still love the new films. I think the problem is at this point,
just enough diplomacy in the film for you to like it, like the new film compared to the original.
I mean, I love them. If I completely ignored the original series, I would love these films because they're just good, fun, blockbuster films.
I agree.
The thing is, I mean, my concern now moving forward with the franchise is if you maintain this sort of self-referential storytelling, when do we find something that we haven't seen before?
Well, that's also been my concern when watching it. It's like they're really retreading old ground. I'm not a huge Trekkie either, but they retread old ground, but they try to put their own spin on it. Like, another spoiler, when Khan crashed the new prototype warship into the city, I mean, that could have never been done in the original, and that was surprising.
True. Well, they could have. It just would have been like a little styrofoam
Yeah, a little
thing.
styrofoam.
So would you like them to go where no man has gone before?
I don't know, maybe it's me.
It's not you.
It's not. Wait, are you guys fighting?
I'd rather not talk about it,
Oh my
sir.
God, what is that even like?
There was a lot of great surprises in the film too, like Peter Weller, the original RoboCop, showed up in it, and I loved him in this film. Him next to Benjamin Cumberbatch, his character was awesome. What took away from the movie for me was like, there's too many convenient things that happen, but that's the Trek
It's
universe.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
So
It's like, we need someone to disarm this bomb. Well, we're going to send our lead surgeon outside to disarm it. I was like, you don't freaking do that. That's just a bad idea.
well,
I would do
but
that.
going back, Star Trek would have been my favorite film this summer if I didn't see Kick-Ass 2. Kick-Ass 2 took the cake for me because it was a movie, it wasn't as epic compared to like Pacific Rim, Star Trek, or Iron Man, but it's the movie that had the least amount of issues I have with. And I'm not saying that's a great thing, but it's just the fact that it had very low plot holes, and the cast was funny.
Donald Faison was great in that.
Donald Faison's
that
Dr.
was-
Gravity made an appearance.
Donald Faison's in the
He's
film.
in- he's
I
in
didn't
it.
even know that. So
Yeah.
Dr. Gravity.
He's Dr. Gravity.
He can't get away from playing a doctor.
exactly.
You remember,
That's a
and
bat.
then one of the new heroes also joined the team, Night Bitch. I remember her from.
Which was funny.
She was the girl from Dawn of the Dead that went after her dog.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb hoe.
That show.
What was that, bro?
I feel so alive. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. You gotta find me some badass MMA types to train me, okay? Like a Chuck Liddell or whoever. I don't care how much it costs. I just want to be able to kill Kick-Ass with my bare hands. I gotta tweet about this.
Okay, so that's our, Kick-Ass 2 was my favorite. Moving on, most disappointing movie, Brian. What was the movie that you were looking forward to that just fell flat?
Most disappointing. I think I'm not sure what my most disappointing is. I would have to say it's probably between. It was one I had to anticipate, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Probably Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3.
Yeah, I guess because I had a really high bar for that.
I agree. I'm the same. Looking, Shane Black directing, and of course teaming up with Robert Downey Jr.
Mainly because when I heard Shane Black was directing, writing, whatever.
Yeah.
That's when my hopes went really high. and I was like, all right, they're gonna raise, everything's off the table. They're gonna raise the ante, everything, and just.
Well, that was also one of the critiques for the film is, was it an Iron Man film or a shame black film written for Robert Downey Jr.?
Yeah, and that's probably more what it is.
But I think that's one of the things that works about it, for me personally.
Okay.
I can see how that kind of splits it with you, though. Is that what you were expecting, though? Were you expecting Shane Black to take Iron Man and here? Or maybe something where he took Iron Man and made it more like a Shane Black film?
I was hoping that the dialogue, which I love the dialogue, I wouldn't change any of the dialogue, but I just wish the plot went a different direction.
I agree. Like, it felt very anticlimactic at the end. And when he destroyed all of his suits, spoiler, he destroyed all of his suits. And he did finally what I always wanted him to do, was he finally removed the arc reactor from himself. I mean, for story purposes, I understand that it's supposed to be a part of him and it represents the change that he's going through in the first film. But as soon as he comes back from the the desert, I was like,
not in the cave anymore.
Yeah, all I was thinking was like, on the second film too, he was like, "This is killing me. I need a cure or something." I was like, "Heart surgery." Just get it out of you. You get a replacement biomechanical heart for all I care.
And I will admit, it's not even anything fancy. It's a freaking magnet 3 feet above his chest.
So. He's like, so I was like, why doesn't he just get a heart transplant? But so, what about you, Mike? What was your most disappointing movie of the summer?
I had to kind of rack my brain for this one.
All right.
But I have to say Epic.
Epic.
Not that I thought it would especially be this phenomenal film, but I actually love animation. And just from the trailers, I mean, you see the trailer and it's an absolutely gorgeous trailer. It's got great soundtrack by Snow Patrol.
Snow Patrol.
Just saying. Anyway,
free plug. They better pay us now.
They're gonna pay us.
They're gonna pay us.
We want
Irish
our quarter.
bastards, give us money.
I think they won't pay.
But no, I mean the animation was gorgeous, and the story seemed interesting enough, if not cliche. But you expect maybe after seeing Avatar, you'll learn your lesson and execute this a little bit differently. Instead, it ended up being this incredibly mundane plot, mired in bad voice acting and even worse script.
So false advertising, it was not epic?
No, it was so, I don't even know what the word is for this.
I actually saw
released a movie called Anticlimactic.
Right.
There you
I
go.
saw this
Anticlimactic.
on an airplane coming home a couple weeks from California, and only one side of my headset worked, so that's how I heard and watched the movie on a little.
So half of you was happy, and the other half was like, "What the?"
Pretty much. I didn't fall asleep, but almost.
Well, I mean, it's like some of their choices for the cast. I just don't understand it. They get Steven Tyler to talk for this weird little glowworm thing, just because they needed someone to sing a rock and roll song for no reason in the middle of the film.
Yep.
Because it's animated, and apparently it's 1995 again, and you have to sing in an animated film.
That was fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what it ended up being, a boring Fern Gully.
It was
like
much
Avatar.
more Fern Gully than Avatar was.
Yeah.
But,
That's saying a lot.
That's because in
Right.
Epic and Fern Gully they got small. The only difference is in Avatar they got big.
They're doing what Elliot would say. They're doing it big.
What about you, Cary? What was your biggest disappointment?
I'm going to say Man of Steel.
Man of Steel.
I had a lot of. I tried not to, have my anticipation up too much for it, but I don't know. I've only seen it once, so I'm going to have to give it another shot when it comes out on Blu-ray. But
I remember we talked about it, and you didn't like the whole Krypton scene in the beginning.
I thought it was too long. It was just a little bit.
I disagree with that simply for the fact, for pacing purposes. Like, if they didn't have that action sequence in the beginning, you remember, he didn't get to his full power and potential until to almost the beginning of the third act.
True.
So it was lulling.
And I had no problem with, the ending part of it, the controversial part. But I sort of like that about the character, because he was growing, and he's not always going to be the goody two-shoes that he's always been in the movies before.
So by no means like a horrible movie, just disappointing in your expectations, I guess?
I think so. There were some good actors in it. But
so was it the script, or really just the plot of it?
The plot, I think, was just trotted along too much. It wasn't.
My problem with it is, I think that they blew their wad in one movie. Like, who's he gonna fight after this guy?
Exactly. That's all I could think about. It was like
maybe Batman.
Well,
but that's gonna be like. Batman. That's not mano-y-mano like blockbuster battle. That's Batman like.
That's all I can think about. I mean, there was so much destruction. Most of the summer movies this summer, overly destructive.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad.
And they even did that in a
this
commercial.
case, it was bad.
The battle sequences were way too long. I mean,
this is the thing. I was finally happy Superman had someone to fight.
Well, that's fine, but still, the action sequences were way too long. And I mean, yeah, it was a cool fight and everything, but logistically, there's no freaking way either Smallville or Metropolis even could
recover
from that.
Another thing, this guy has like bad morality. Like think about this. It's like his whole thing is I don't want to kill anybody. That the longer he draws that fucking fight out, there's like thousands of people dying in that city. And he's like I don't want to kill them.
Well, his morality waned a lot of times. In the beginning, after he saved the oil rig and the explosion and all that, he swam on the shore. He just stole some people's clothes. I was like, did Superman just steal clothes?
And he's drinking. What is he drinking? Bud Light.
Yeah, this is the biggest issue I have with the film.
Oh my God.
Was product placement. There was so much product placement in this film.
In a movie, really?
Yeah.
No way.
But this one was so obvious. You know, I don't have a problem with landmarks. Like they fought.
Product placement. What?
Yeah.
What?
They fought in the IHOP. They fought in the Sears. I can live with that. That's locations.
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
They destroyed a
They
7-Eleven.
didn't just fight in the Sears, but Martha works there.
The thing is, but at least that grounds it into our reality somewhat. The problem I had was when characters do things out of context. Superman was drinking a Budweiser in the film.
Let's take a look at this Nikon logo.
Yeah, there's another thing. What's it called Jenny Lang, Jenny Olsen instead of Jimmy Olsen.
Right.
She's like, the feed's coming on my phone. And I was like,
No,
why
they didn't
did they
say her
cut
last
to that
name.
shot?
Oh, because we need to know.
They got paid for it.
Because it's Nokia. It's like, they cut to the shot of Nokia.
You know
But
what?
to be
yeah, that
fair,
was a
it was
bit late.
far from the worst product placement movie of the summer. Iron Man 3 was just a consumer expo. I mean,
I give you that, but
we have to know that this kid not only gets all this great shit, but it's Fios or Fios or I don't even care. But
You know what biggest-
and yet it's in my film.
Superman drinking a Budweiser. He doesn't need to drink beer. he drinks it and he eats out of habit. So now he's just drinking shitty beer.
It is Kansas.
Just for fun.
He's got poor taste.
He's got poor taste. So,
My biggest complaint about it, I think, I do like special effects in movies, but there was just an overabundance of it towards, like, especially the end scenes. It was just too much of it.
I think that it was also a combination of camera movement. Like there was a lot of shaky cam. A lot of people complained about that. I did not so much have an issue with that, but I had an issue with the tone of the film. It was too somber. It was very depressing. But for the first time, I was able to sympathize with Superman.
That's why I thought it worked.
Yeah.
It adds depth to the character that I.
It did add depth to it, but there was not enough humor in it to some extent.
There wasn't any humor in it, really.
Yeah.
Well, I have to think that if they did add that humor to it, that I may not like Superman in that movie. I mean, I don't really.
It
find
doesn't have to be him to be funny. It's the situation.
No, I know, but it's the
just get Gene Hackman back.
environment he's in.
Or Ben Affleck.
He seems like
There you
this
go.
He's a
uptight
comedy
guy, and
He had more range than any other Superman in other films that I've seen. You know, besides Creeper, Superman staring at Lois Lane through X-ray vision without her knowledge.
And we went there.
And last note is Michael Shannon was awesome as Zod.
Oh,
He was really
Shannon
good.
was tremendous.
He's Zod, Kevin Costner as Paul Kent. I almost like got choked up.
Yeah.
You know,
man.
at that scene, I was like, man, that
I
sucks.
saw
That just
You
really.
have emotions, Michael?
No, I said almost.
I cried.
He turned it off just quick.
Yep. Let's turn off that switch. What about you, Sacha? Biggest disappointment?
I was mildly disappointed by Man of Steel, and for pretty much all those reasons, and then also the government knows too much about him.
That's true. He didn't mention he grew up in Kansas.
I grew up in Kansas.
You know
It's
what
like-
actually really annoyed me is actually in the superhero films this day, like this day and age, they keep telling the females who they are.
All right.
Like Spider-Man was the worst kept superhero's identity ever. Like he took his mask got
yeah.
taken off.
What
on the
does
train.
Superman need to tell you? I mean,
a little obvious
It's a little
anyway.
obvious, but you know. Also,
Just-
you
he just
remember when
takes his
Cary,
glasses on
yeah,
and
I
off.
don't. Take off your glasses.
Where am I
Who the
now?
hell are you?
You remember when Superman saved Lois from the
Or
explosion?
he just puts a little.
And then he lands and flies off, and the cop's pulling up. She's like, Clark. I was like, there's a cop behind you. Shut up. That's all I could think of.
No, one of my favorite moments is, right when the fight with Zod and Superman's about to happen, she's standing there, and then they just go tearing through the city, and right as he's about to kill Zod, spoilers, all of a sudden she just kind of jogs into the station.
She fast traveled.
They're flying at, God knows how fast, and she just takes the metro over to where they're fighting,
The bus still worked. But they created Metropolis. I don't know how that's going to recover. I mean, they say that it sets up for Lex Luthor to build his version of Metropolis.
And Bruce Wayne to hate him.
But how long will that take? There's no way he builds it that quick.
There was a lot of LexCorp, imagery.
There was a LexCorp.
Yeah, LexCorp started small as a moving company.
And then the one Wayne Industries
satellite, right.
Yeah.
My biggest disappointment was actually This Is the End. It was a comedy starring Seth Rogen and a whole plethora of comedians. A lot to get through. My disappointment is just that the jokes were actually meant to be set up as shock value jokes. Mm-hmm. When you see someone, Rihanna made an appearance in it and stuff like that, you're like, oh crap, Rihanna's in it.
It's one of those things where they show all the good jokes in the previews, and you get to the movie, you're like, oh.
I don't think all the good jokes were shown or anything like that. I just think they were set up for shock value jokes. Like when you first see it, it's really funny, but the more you think about it, I would not rewatch this film because the shock value's gone and all the jokes are actually kind of flat. They weren't that strong, but that was my biggest disappointment.
But I did love how the actors are playing characterizations of the
way
they really are.
Hyper-realized versions of themselves.
Right.
Which it was fun watching that, especially when they reenacted tried to do a sequel
Express
to
2.
Pineapple Express 2.
That was hilarious.
And there was some good stuff in it, but even the ending was like, it was overly sort of religious in a way, and it was.
Oh my god.
Well, it was that. Oh yeah, that's right. It had the devil dick in it.
Yeah,
by the way, there's devil dick in it.
So what I found was
boom
weird about it. So I'm kind of curious.
My ticket.
Is Emma Watson damned because she played a witch? Because why?
I've been told I overanalyze shit. Sasha, you just hit that threshold.
It's a zombie invasion.
I'm the one who said it's been
You
zombies.
said zombies?
I said zombies the whole
You
time.
said zombies?
I don't think you never said zombies. You said zombies.
Wait a second, you guys haven't been proven right. These are still just theories.
Honestly, I'm.
All right, so we've gone through our biggest disappointment. What was the worst thing we saw this summer? Bryan, going back to you.
Fast 6.
Fast 6. I thought that was fantastic.
Fantastic. P-H-A.
Mike? Fantastic.
Mike Fantastic.
But why did you think it was the worst movie you saw?
I knew what it was. I know, fast is fast. So I go in, see Vin Diesel, say some cheesy stuff, living life one quarter mile at a time, kind of shit, But I don't know. It's all right. So the whole thing is they're fighting like a doppelganger crew of people. Like they got their comm guy, they got their Vin Diesel guy, like the rival crew.
Right.
And
the doppelganger.
Then you got Letty, the whole subplot of him trying to get her out of her amnesia and get her back. But it's just cheesy. It's fun. Like, I won't say it's bad. Like, I would never watch it again because it's so bad it's funny.
It's the cheese level factor of the early 90s films.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous shit happens. Like when he catches her midair between two bridges and lands on a...
Going 60 miles per hour.
Going 60 miles an hour, and then... just the runway that spans the entire continent of Africa, they're on that runway for 30 minutes.
So someone measured it out. What was it, 25 kilometers or something?
Someone calculated it, and it's on the internet somewhere.
Can it be worse than the first 5 movies though?
No,
it's not. That's the thing.
Better.
It keeps
better.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a weird thing in this equation. Is
Fast 5 was the best one until this.
So Fast 12 will be a good movie.
So maybe by the time we hit Fast 12, it might be a decent film that you can.
With drama. It's going to be a level of Dark Knight.
So Fast 20.
Chris Nolan directs Fast 12.
So you're saying in this way that Fast 20 will be Oscar worthy?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's probably
Can't wait for
directed
that.
by Ben Affleck.
See, I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch the film. We saw it during the Super Bowl, the teaser trailer for the Super Bowl,
right,
where they pulled down the plane, and Alex, our roommate, Boston's Monster, just lost his mind. He was like, "We're watching this!" Because he pulled down the plane. I was like, "Yeah,
that's the one guy they made the movie for."
Yeah, that's the one guy.
That's the target audience. That dude.
Rudd. Well, we all knew it was bad. It was just so epically bad. We had to watch it. Rudd, what about you? What was the most
I'm gonna
worst
set
movie
you up for
saw?
a really bad pun, Brian. Epic. Epic was really awful. You're gonna abstain on this one?
I think I will.
You don't want to go where no fan has gone before?
Yeah, no fan has gone before.
Not so epic.
No, Epic was just bad. I mean, I just thoroughly did not enjoy this film. I wanted a refund on my popcorn afterwards.
I wanted to walk out of the theater and I was on an airplane.
And you were on an airplane. I would have considered it very
Well,
much.
I know this is not one of yours, but Monsters U, did you get a chance to see that too?
I
That's
saw
another
that. I
animated
wouldn't.
film.
Monsters U wasn't a bad movie. It just, to me, wasn't anything special. It certainly didn't live up to the first one, which I loved. I know you didn't love the first one as much.
I hated the first one, actually. I'm sorry. I
Hate,
did.
really?
Yeah, I really didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it at all.
You hated this film.
That's a strong
I
word.
saw it a month before Monsters U.
Oh.
Because I wanted to catch up and make sure. When I first saw it, I hated it. It grew on me. I've liked it since. But I thought Monsters U was much better than Monsters Inc.
Monsters U was just done a million times in the 80s.
It was an 80s throwback movie done by Pixar.
Yeah, Animal Party.
Animal Party.
You're right, Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. I mean, the ending part of the script is what happened in the first Revenge
But
of
the
the
thing
Nerds.
is, the jokes were actually funny in this one. I really enjoyed the humor in it. And that last scene when they're in the cabin near the end of the film was...
That's a good scene.
That was a great scene.
That's a very good scene. But to me, like, even the relationship between Sully and Mike in this film just feels like crap. It's like, they're not friends at the end of this movie. Sully is basically a big blue fuzzy dick. No one likes him at the end of this film. How could they? Yes.
Wow.
Jim Henson made some of those.
Jim Henson made a lot of those.
All right, so Epic was your worst movie.
Epic
what about
was my
you?
worst
What about you, Cary? What was the
It's
worst?
easy. It's After Earth.
So I can't believe you went to go watch that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a quick story on that. We were in California at it's this thing called Cinegear, and we went to the premiere at the event. It was actually on the Paramount Studios, and it was a really cool experience. And they 4K, and they had this Q&A with the people that did the cameras beforehand, and then they showed the movie. So we're standing in the lobby talking crap about the movie, and there was like people from the studio like standing right next to us going, we're like, yeah, the movie was really fucking horrible. And you know, I mean,
The thing is, the movie had potential in the trailer. You're watching, it was like, this is an interesting
little bit.
policy,
Yeah, a little bit.
interesting concept. I might want to check this out. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Nope.
you know, it's one of those things.
That was
Will Smith
not watching it.
bought the movie for his kid to star in, and that's all it was. I mean, he was Will Smith. He didn't move like the whole movie because he broke. No spoiler. Who cares? He broke his leg. He couldn't move, and then his kid was like running around. And I swear there was one point in the movie where he had to try to emote something, and they put digital tears on him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was that bad.
Future of acting.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel might
He
have a
didn't
future.
need that. I just think of that meme of his son's face all the time, the same one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it.
The Miley Cyrus face.
Yep. That's how I felt when I was watching his movie.
The giraffe face. Sacha, worst movie. What was the worst?
Mortal Instruments.
Why'd you go watch it?
I wanted to watch a girly movie, and it had pretty people in it.
You learned your lesson.
No, she has not.
No.
She'll still watch other
No, it
movies.
had pretty people in it.
They're making a sequel. Are you gonna go see that too?
Probably not. It was written really poorly.
Well, gee.
Well, see, okay, I love watching movies with
Pretty people.
with actors from shows that aren't so
Bad.
widespread in America, like Robert Sheehan from Misfits. He had a role in it. Aidan Turner, although he's also been introduced through The Hobbit because he's one of the dwarves. But I thought it was cool because these guys are getting more
Exposure.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's not the best movie. It certainly is the worst.
It's not the best. It is, in fact, the worst.
The worst of all time. Even over Twilight.
No, okay. It's not the worst of all time. It just felt like a fan fiction.
It's a Twilight
It's probably written like a
film,
fan
and that's all I can
fiction.
think about when I look at the trailer.
Okay. It's written. The books it's based on was written by an author who got her start writing fan fiction.
Gotta start
I
somewhere.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So it felt like that. It
Look
was-
where 50 Shades of Grey grew.
Yeah, it's like, okay, look how popular Twilight did. We need to do one of those. Let's just do it.
Is it fair to say that bad writing is popular these days?
Writing rots the
sells.
brain just as bad as bad television.
Bad writing is prevalent.
Yeah.
I mean, it had a few funny moments in it, but it wasn't spectacular.
Are you trying to defend it?
No.
Okay. Moving on to me, my worst movie. I had the toss-up between Bryan 2 with Fast 6, but I'm going to go with the Wolverine. I don't think it was bad by production values by any means, but it's just that it's still disappointed. It's better than, X-Men Origins Wolverine, but that's not, reaching far.
Well, it didn't have Taylor Kitsch.
Yeah, that helps somewhat.
Or one of the Black Eyed Peas.
I forgot he was in there.
That's right, he was one in there. But the film just failed to live up to the true expectation. I was happy that it was finally rated R. We finally got a rated R. Well, actually, it was PG-13. They said the director's cut might be rated R.
Oh.
So I'm actually waiting to actually see the director's cut if I like it anymore. But there were just a lot of plot holes in the film. Thus, with the Bryan Singer universe of X-Men, plot holes galore. The most anticipated scene everyone wanted to see was in the trailer was when all the ninjas showed up to fight Wolverine.
Yeah, that was
It lasted 2 minutes, and the rest was them shooting arrows in them, and it was lackluster. I was like, there was no brilliant choreography in the film, but to be fair, what can you do with a guy with claws that goes like?
But
this,
it was shot differently though.
I was glad there was finally a story about him and not him saving the world. It was a very personal story. So I'll give you that. That was great.
And the after credit scene is nice.
The after credit scene was probably the best part.
Would you finally characterize him as brutal in this film, though?
Yes, he was pretty brutal in this one. I was finally happy about that.
Okay.
Like I said, I definitely want to see the rated R version because I can tell they cut out a lot of probably blood and effects that could have been. The main villain was uninspiring. They twisted the story with the Silver Samurai, which was no surprise.
You could see it a mile away.
Yeah, it's like at the very beginning of the film, I was like, oh, that's gonna happen.
Yep.
One of the worst scenes in the film to me was like a tree. He escaped with his romantic girl that he was being romanticized with. And they go to the small village.
Mariko.
Yeah. They go to a small village. And a tree falls down it, and it was like, we need someone to cut down the tree. So they just got a shot of him flexing his muscle, cutting a tree for no reason. I was like, well, that's 5 minutes for no reason.
Yeah, they did Predator too. I liked it.
Yeah, well, Arnold just no.
Yeah, a montage of
setting up traps.
I can end your eternity, make you mortal.
Every once in a while, there's a hidden gem in the summer movie blockbuster not a lot of people get to see. Bryan, do you have a gem that you recommend people to check out?
I can't really say that. There's gems. There's like some Dirty Copper, maybe. Like
Dirty Copper.
You found something there.
So no, you weren't happy with the season.
No. I think it was the summer of mediocrity.
I agree.
There was nothing that I loved. There was nothing I hated either. Like I didn't totally hate any movie I saw. So everything's kind of mediocre. It's just like, digging through the trash and I found like 3 banana peels or something.
That's your happiness right there?
Wow.
3 banana peels?
Huh?
But what was
as long as a little
what
bit
was
of
the
banana
least
in there.
brown banana peel?
What was the least brown one? By Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim?
I don't know. I can't really say, man.
Okay. Well, let's move on to you, Rod. What about you?
I would highly recommend In a World, which was written, directed, produced, starring Lake Bell.
I really wanted to watch that film too. I was you got to go to a screening with it.
Right. I was at the Q&A with Lake Bell when they premiered it in Houston. And I would just highly recommend it. The script was terrific.
Very smart.
Incredibly snappy, really smart. All the actors were completely on top of it. It managed to pull off some rhythm humor that just isn't very prevalent anymore in comedies.
Well, what about let people know what the story's about, because they might not
In a World is centered, as you might guess from the title, on voice acting specifically for trailers.
Right.
The main character is the daughter of one of the most famous trailer voice actors of all time.
The one that says,
who wants to the guy who said "In a World" in real life, Don LaFontaine, I believe, died. And this was the whole thing was about bringing that phrase "in a world" back that he made famous. And she's trying to get out of her father's shadow, who says, "You're a girl, you can't be a voice actor." So she goes through all her trials to get to the point where she lands an audition for this. She might get to say in a world, at which point everyone else wants to say in a world. And it basically turns into this competition.
And Dimitri Martin was also in it.
And he was terrific.
Really?
Rob Corddry is actually
That was the main reason I would watch it too.
He was probably the most surprisingly great performance in the film. And I think that was one of the things about the film that I loved the most. There was actually some emotional depth to it, and it was centered around Rob Corddry of all people.
And they got half the cast from Children's Hospital.
Children's Hospital, yeah.
So is it more scripted or is it more documentary style?
No, it's not. This is all scripted.
No, this is a fictional film.
It's a fictional
film. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely worth. I saw the trailer. I was like, man, I really want to watch it. I still need to go watch it, but yeah.
Wow.
What about you, Cary? Hidden Gems.
Nobody's going to agree with me on this one, but I'm going to say The Lone Ranger because hear me out.
I didn't get to see it. I wanted to watch.
I just had the most fun in the theater watching this movie. Of course, it was overly cheesy. I am a big Gore Verbinski fan. I love the Pirates movies, and I'm a Disney nerd that way. And the worst thing about the movie is the characters. People know the Lone Ranger and Tonto, but nobody knows what the characters are. The IP is like really old.
Well, let me ask you this, because from what I looked from the trailer, did it center around Johnny Depp's Tonto's character more than the Lone Ranger by Armie Hammer?
I don't say it would center around him more, but there were scenes where the whole thing was done in a flashback type of way. The typical, I'm old and here's what happened, that type of thing. But I don't know, everything about it was just a lot of fun. The set design and costuming and the action was fun. It's just, it didn't do very well.
Taking it away from your fandom of Disney or whatever, Gore Verbinski, as a film, would you recommend it for other people to watch?
Considering I went to a sneak preview and I didn't pay to get in, it's definitely worth watching when it comes out on Blu-ray.
Okay.
When you have a good system, watch it, have fun. But it's not the best movie of the summer, of course. But
see, for me, I had two reasons I wanted to watch it. This is before the whole Ben Affleck thing happened as Batman, but Armie Hammer was rumored that he might be Batman because he was supposed to be Batman in the Justice League movie they were going to do.
That Ben Affleck would have directed.
No, this is way before that.
You're talking about the one from a few years back?
Produced by Joel Silver. That was going to be produced by Joel Silver. So, yeah, Armie Hammer was supposed to be Batman, and in the costume said he was going to be like a 7-foot tall Batman. I was like, well, that would be kind of cool. The other reason is William Fichtner was also in it as the main villain.
See, I did not even. He was so unrecognizable. He was so unrecognizable in that character. He was so lost in that character. I didn't even know until after the movie it was him. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I love that guy. Anything he's in, even the worst films he's in, he's the best thing about that film.
Yeah, totally agree.
What about you, Sacha? Hidden Gem.
I kind of have two. One was random. I didn't know anything about it. I just suddenly went to this Indian movie called Go Go Gone. It's not a good movie, but it is hilarious, and it's about zombies. It's an Indian zombie movie.
Wow, that should be a selling point right there.
Oh, it was hilarious, and it made fun of a bunch of different zombie movies from Western cinema. So it was really kind of weird and awesome.
Speaking of zombie, I want to interject one thing. World War Z, I finally got to see that. Not that bad.
I liked it.
I thought it was okay. It wasn't great. It should have been. It's sad that it's a PG-13 zombie film instead of a rated R. That was the biggest downfall. But CGI was a little bad at some points.
Yeah.
But overall, it was okay.
And my favorite thing about the movie is they called them zombies. They were zombies. There wasn't.
Right.
They didn't try to avoid the word.
Well, I think the reason why in those previous films they tried to avoid the word is because the word zombie didn't become worldwide known and renowned unless it was George Romero. Yeah.
And in the previews, they never showed close-ups of him. Yeah. It was just all far away shots of like hordes of them.
In the George Romero films, they never refer them to zombies either.
True.
Because it's not nationally worldwide known.
In a zombie movie, it is usually typical that universe has never thought or fathomed of the Raging Dead. In the real world, everybody knows what a zombie is, and the outbreak would stop at patient zero, and they just go, that's it.
And then in this film, they realize what a zombie is. Yeah. The only thing I hate about the film was the cure, or the work around the guy.
Yeah.
I won't spoil it for who haven't seen it. I just thought it was really stupid.
And it has the new Doctor Who in it.
Right.
He played the doctor. He played the Who
World
organization.
Health Organization doctor.
I see what they did there.
I see what they did. But I'm sorry. Back to yours.
But
Hidden Gem.
it was hilarious, and they made fun of a bunch of other zombie movies. I think they actually had a zombified Sean walking around, so that was pretty funny.
That's pretty cool.
And then the other one is Percy Jackson. Actually, I really enjoyed that movie, and partially because Nathan Fillion was hilarious.
Who played?
He played Hermes.
Okay.
The annoying, or the evil peer. He played his father.
Okay.
So he had a wonderful line.
So you got your Firefly fill.
Oh my God! They made a reference to Firefly that I was not expecting. My family's sitting there in the theater, and there's one other family there, and we were so terrified we were gonna annoy the crap out of them. But there was one line he said. He's talking to another character, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that show is great. They always cancel the good ones." And my family just erupts in laughter. It was so wonderful.
Every show I ever liked has been canceled, to be honest.
True. Stop liking anything.
I know.
It's your fault.
It's all my fault.
Why do you think he's so bitter and emotionless?
Okay, moving on. My hidden gem, I would actually recommend a horror film. It's actually The Conjuring, directed by James Wan, who did the first Saw film and Insidious and Sinister, which were pretty good horror films. This one, however, he turned a slightly new leaf where he shot it more realistically instead of stylistically compared to the other films. There was less party gels, less bright and vibrant colors.
Right.
This is a turn for him, and it goes a lot more grounded in reality because this is based off of a true story. And he had to go interview the family members and shoot it, but it was surprisingly fun. It's decently pretty creepy, so I was surprised that it was that good. He's got Insidious 2 coming out, where he's going back to the whole stylistic style of shooting, which I'll watch too because I enjoyed Insidious except for the last act. But Conjuring, if you haven't seen it, definitely try to check it out. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Of course, you can always check out our antics on @Ultness on Twitter. So follow us on Twitter, and of course visit our website, ultness.com. Until next time, we'll see you next summer, and keep watching those movies. So, Ben Affleck is still going to be Batman.
I thought
half an hour later, still
on that.
When I heard that, I had to look at my calendar, make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day. I was like, really? Are they serious?
See, the thing, I'm with Sacha. I don't have the first knee-jerk reaction is always gag.
Yeah.
You're like, what? Really? No. And then you gotta think about it. He's aged, he's matured somewhat as an actor, he's gotten a little bit better. His directing's strong in Argo.
He's not a bad actor.
But he's not directing it, he's acting in it.
Yeah.
He's not a weak performer, though.
He's not the best pick, though.
He's not a strong one either.
He's not a strong pick.
He's not the best choice, but I mean, I'm not repelled by it, so it's not bad.
Daredevil.
Yes, Christian Bale.
Yeah,
Christian Bale, new Daredevil.
And
Yes.
Christian Bale is Daredevil.
Oh my God.
I can't see you.
Get out of the house, Christian!